Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
And welcome to Adith Emmanuel on this fifth Friday of the month. We don't get too many fifth Fridays, but on this particular fifth Friday, we are delighted that we have some of our volunteers from our adult choir who will be leading us in our music, along with Herb, of course, while Sandy has the night off. And so we all need to raise our voices just a little bit louder to show our support for our choir members. So sing along for sure. As we watch here, those of us who are able to be here in person and those who are watching through the blessing of technology, and if you are joining us remotely tonight, I invite you to write Shabbat Shalom in the chat and tell us from where you are joining us for Shabbat this evening. We turn now in our service to page 128, with the words Hine Ma Tov, how good and pleasant it is that we are here together. As we turn now to pages 120 and 121 in our Siddur for our candle lighting, I invite to the Bima Deb Epstein and Michelle Brandt to join Chuck Gross, who's already on the Bima, to lead us in our candle lighting, followed by our Kiddush.
Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them. So may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light. So may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher kishanu b'mitzvotav, mitzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. And we turn to page 123 for Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'ratzon, inchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom tehillah, למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי בנו בחרת, אותנו קידשת, מכהנים, בשבת קודשך, אהבה ורצון, התנתנו. Baruch atah Adonai,
As we turn now to page 138, page 138, we continue with the words of Lecha Dodi. We'll be singing verses 1 and 9.
דיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה.
While we're standing, we take a moment to turn to one another, perhaps not the person next to us, if we already know that person, but someone in front of us, behind us, across the way. Let's introduce ourselves to one another and greet one another. Shabbat Shalom. And if you're watching us through the blessing of technology, please feel free to greet one another in the chat. And we turn now to page 145, page 145. As we read together, teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set in my ways. As we turn now to page 146 for Baruch Hu.
Na
On page 150, 150. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are the life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. As we turn to our prayer cards.
Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy mind, with all thy soul, and with all thy might, with all thy might. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be in thy heart, shall be in thy heart, shall be in thy heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, thou shalt speak of them, and thou sittest in thy house, when thou sittest in thy house, when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest, and when thou liest up, and thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, they shall be for frontlets between thine eyes, and thou shalt write them on the doorposts of thy house, and upon thy gates, and upon thy gates, and upon thy gates, that ye may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
On page 157, we continue responsibly. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. We continue on page 161. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukkot shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. We continue on page 162 with Vishamru.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat l'donotam b'rit olam. La'asot et ha-Shabbat l'donotam b'rit olam. Vishamru Shabbat Shabbat Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat V'nei uvein v'nei Yisrael oti le'olam V'nei uvein v'nei Yisrael oti le'olam Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat Shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat Ki sheshet yamin asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'et haaretz Ki sheshet yamin asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'et haaretz V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat V'shamru Shabbat Shabbat Vayom Hashvi Shabbat Vayinafash Vayom Hashvi Shabbat Vayinafash V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat.
We turn now in our Siddur to page 164. As we are able, we rise for tefillah.
Adonai sifatai tiftach Ufi yagi tehilatecha Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chazadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avrimahot, U'mei Gula, Libnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo B'yavo, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Lilam Adonai, Mechaye hakol ato rav lo shia. Asiva ruach u'marida Gashem. Mekachel chayim b'chesed. Mechaye hakol b'rachamim rabim. Somech noflim rofei choalim. Umatir atzurim. Kaya emunato lishenei afar. Micha mocha bal gevurot. Umidom elach. Melech memit umachayeh. Umatzmiach Yeshua. V'nemanat al hakayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh, simcha kadosh, kadoshim b'chol yom yalalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
May be seated. We continue on page 177. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. As we continue on page 178 with our prayer for peace. Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim, Tasim, Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim, Tasim, Tasim leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol, lechol, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim, Tasim, Tasim leolam. V'tov b'necha yevarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל בשלומך, בשלומך, בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim, Tasim, Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam.
We turn our thoughts and prayers now to those who are in need of healing, and so we turn in our Siddur to page 371 in the middle of the page. For those who are watching us through the blessing of technology, if you're thinking of someone who is in need of healing, feel free to add their name in the chat at this time. Those who are here in person will have a chance to add those names after I share with you the names of these people in our extended Addith Emmanuel family to whom we send blessings of healing. Moshe ben Elizabeth Theodore, Leah Hers, Rosalie Middleman, Jennifer Ness, Marcy Gittler, Holly Willett, Jeremy Solar, Mel Klein, George Goldstein, Susan Casper, Harriet Eisner, Carla Teisch, Elaine Moskowitz, Linda Drachman, Chaim Ben David, Eileen Davison, Craig Davison, Hugh Morton, Art Bond, Roberta Levine, Jordan Maverick Steinberg, Deanna Amariello, Lisa Galda, Ed Crosby, Myra Kaplan, Jeff Schaefer, Lulu Ruvuela, Marion Gwertz, Aaron Tepper, Lily Tepper, Louis Alahat, Mary Parker, Tricia Tepper, Carol Schaefer, Mary Mednitsky, Jocelyn Jackson, Jen Jones, Shirley Friedlander, Michael Infanti, Gary Garnick, Ann Marsden, Rick Ulrich, Ileana Cohn, and others whose names we should add at this time. I invite you to rise in your place as you're able, and as my hand passes through the congregation to mention those names aloud.
Barry Bookman.
Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim.
Bless those in need of healing. Please hear our prayer. Mishibera avotenu mekor chabracha limotenu. Mishibera avotenu mekor chabracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing. Please hear our prayer. Amen.
We continue now on page 180, page 180. My God, guard my speech from evil and my lips from deception. Before those who slander me, I will hold my tongue. I will practice humility. Open my heart to your Torah, that I may pursue your mitzvot. As for all who think evil of me, cancel their designs and frustrate their schemes. Act for your own sake, for the sake of your power, for the sake of your holiness, for the sake of your Torah, so that your loved ones may be rescued. Save me with your power and answer me. As we continue now with silent meditation, Whether we are led by the words on page 181 or other prayers throughout the prayer book, or those meditations and thoughts in our hearts. You may close your books. And if the choir wants to take a seat in the congregation. A person once said, "I don't do windows because I love birds and don't want one to run into a clean window and get hurt. I don't wax floors because I'm terrified a guest will slip and get hurt and then I'll feel terrible. Plus they may sue me. I don't mind the dust bunnies because they're very good company. I have named most of them, and they agree with everything I say. I don't disturb cobwebs because I want every creature to have a home of their own. I don't put things away because my husband will never be able to find them again. I don't do spring cleaning because I love all the seasons and don't want others to get jealous." This week in our Torah portion, Tzav, and at this season of spring, the concept of unclean and clean arise. This portion comes from Leviticus chapter 7, verse 19. "The flesh that touches any unclean, tameh, thing shall not be eaten. It shall be burnt with fire. And as for the flesh, only one that is clean, tahor, may eat such flesh. But the person who, in a state of uncleanness, eats flesh from the eternal God's sacrifices of well-being, that person shall be cut off from his people. When anyone shall touch anything unclean, whether it be the uncleanness of a man or the unclean animal or any unclean creature, and eats of the flesh from the eternal God's sacrifices of well-being, that person shall be cut off from his kin. So we have this concept of unclean referring to the spiritual status, that's the tameh, and the clean, which is tahor. And there's all kinds of laws in Judaism that revolve around clean and unclean. Sometimes they're translated as pure and impure. And so important are these laws of cleanliness that there's an entire order of the Mishnah. So the Torah is the written law, and after the written law of the Torah was something called the oral law, the Mishnah. So the Torah has 5 books. The Mishnah has 6 orders. Of those orders, one is devoted to cleanliness. It's called Tehorot. And from those 6 orders, from that one order of Tehorot, there are 12 tractates in the Talmud. What happened was the Mishnah gave very brief oral law, and then the Talmud had to give commentary and explain. So we have 12 tractates just connected to Tehorot. We have Nida, Kelim, Oholot, Negaim, Para, Tehorot, Mikvaot, Makshirin, Zabim, Tabul Yom, Yadayim, Ukzin, having to do with hands and stocks and predisposition and pools of immersion and the cow and all, and leprosy and tents and all different things, whether they're a physical being or a part of a human being, or those things that are even intangible in the air. And if we read through carefully, we see that all kinds of physical items are subject to a status of being tahor, clean, or tameh, unclean. So what ways does this help us get ready for Pesach, or Passover? Well, among a variety of other ways, somebody just asked me, are you ready for Pesach? Are you getting ready for Pesach? And one of the ways we do that is cleaning, sometimes spring cleaning. Does anybody remember back in the day when somebody was like washing the floors, or that was the time to clean the drawers, or the whole house and not just the kitchen? And people do. They clean their homes even if guests aren't coming. They vacuum their cars, getting rid of the chametz, right? The chametz being that which is leaven, that which is not kosher for Passover. And unlike the person from the beginning, some people do what's called spring cleaning. And that's the physical element that comes as we start this new season. Anyone here practice yoga? I just started with Deanna on Mondays at 9:30, a little commercial to definitely come if you're not already. So one instructor describes yoga this way. Yoga teachers often talk about cleaning out our inner closets. The practice helps us to uncover physical and emotional baggage and release what does not serve us well. We sometimes hold on to what we know because change is frightening and challenging, and staying with the familiar, even if it makes us ill and unhappy, feels better than venturing into the unknown. Springtime is filled with cultural and religious traditions that symbolize rebirth. There's Lent, Maha Shivarati, which is a Hindu festival which includes offerings and fasting, meditation, and penance. Of course, there's Passover, and there's Songkran, which is a festival celebrated in Southeast Asia, which is like a new year, and it's marked by the vernal equinox. And all pay reverence to this time of renewal as we attempt to purify the mind, heart, and home, and remove that negativity and celebrate. So too it is for us in Judaism. For some, Pesach involves spring cleaning, but from a Jewish perspective, we not only clean out the physical, we also clean out the spiritual chametz, right? If we think of matzah as being flat and chametz being that which has had time to rise or puffy, sometimes we think of that which is puffed up and arrogant, and we're trying to get rid of those arrogant ways that we have and embrace humility at a healthy level. And so I like to think of Pesach in this spiritual cleaning of the chametz as a halfway checkpoint since Rosh Hashanah, since the high holidays, and see how well I'm doing with my commitments. One way we can get ready is to check, what did I resolve on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur? What did I say I was going to try to do differently? When we moved here from Illinois to New Jersey, we cleared out a lot of clutter. Clutter that piled up in our home over 20 years. One of my High Holy Day resolutions was not to have the clutter creep its way into our new home. I am not doing as well as I wanted. However, I'm reminded, because it's Pesach, that I can do better. I can. And that in order to succeed, I need to perhaps schedule time to sort through the piles. I'm hoping that as I reduce and remove these physical piles in my life, that I'll also feel a heightened sense of spiritual cleanliness in my heart and mind. And here's another story about Pesach cleaning. It's called cold water cleaning. Shmuel went to visit his cousin for Pesach in a very secluded rural area of Georgia. And after spending a hard day finishing the cleaning and ridding the home of chametz, the leavened products, Shmuel helped his cousin set the table for Seder. And Shmuel noticed there was a film-like substance on his plate and questioned his cousin, asking, "Are these plates clean?" His cousin replied, "They're as clean as cold water can get them. Just finish up and let's enjoy our Pesach Seder." The next morning, the cousin made matzah brai for breakfast. Again, Shmuel was concerned about the plates, as his appeared to have tiny specks around the edge that looked like dried horseradish and gefilte fish. "Are you sure these plates are clean?" Without looking up, his cousin said, "I told you before, Shmuel, these dishes are as clean as cold water can get them. Now, don't you fret. I don't want to hear another word about it." So after sundown and the holiday was over, Shmuel got up to go, and as he was leaving, his cousin's dog started to growl and wouldn't let him pass. Shmuel turned to his cousin and said, "Your dog won't let me go to my car." And his cousin shouted at the dog, "Cold water, go lay down!" That's a groaner. So we have a few more days, thank goodness, before Pesach arrives Wednesday night for our first Seder. Let's continue to prepare, not only with our physical cleaning, but also with that spiritual cleaning. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, eternal our God and God of our ancestors. As many of us prepare for Passover, help us with our cleaning. For those hosting, let our homes be ready in time for our guests. And for all of us, let also our spirits renew the resolutions we have made as we ever strive to clean and improve our souls. Amen. We continue now on page 586. 586 at the bottom of the page. As we are able, we rise for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'gan hakol, Kidula Yatse Reshi, Shilo Asana Kagaye Harata, Vela Samanu Kamisaka Adama, Shilo Sam Kalkanu Kohem, Begora Lenu Kirkomona, Anaknu Korim, Umishahavim Udim, Lifnei Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'nemar, V'haya Adonai L'melech HaKoretz, Bayom Hahu, Yeh Adonai Echad, U'Shemo Echad.
Our thoughts turn now to those who are no longer with us, and so we turn in our Siddur to page 593. Page 593. The light of life is a finite flame. Like the Shabbat candles, life is kindled, it burns, it glows, it is radiant with warmth and beauty. But soon it fades, its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance and our life burns down and gutters. There is an end to the flames. We see no more and are no more seen. Yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life. As we turn now to pages 598 and 599, we think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at the season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. For those of you who are watching through the blessing of technology, if you have the name of a loved one whom you're thinking of at this time and want to add their name, please do so in the chat. We think now of those who've died in recent days during this period of Shloshim: Howard Gordon, father of Marcy Burr, grandfather of Jacob, and those who died at the season in years past, whose yahrzeits we mark on the Shabbat: Dora Burstein, Irving Epstein, Marlene Epstein, Susan Fesnack, Judith Frazier, Albert Goldis, Lucille Helfat, Lauren Harold Jaffe, Lilia Kazansky, Fanny Lesser, Benjamin Latofsky, Elliot Marchant, Rose Osler, Ida Plavinsky, Lena Pomerantz, Gladys Richter, Harvey Robin, John Rothschild, Harvey Savage, Earl Schaefer, Adele Schlossberg, Dan Selman, Sanford Silverberg, Lillian Ward, Abe Wernick, Albert Zach, and other names that we should add at this time. Please feel free to rise and say their name aloud if you choose.
Susan Bishop.
We invite those who are in the period of Shiva and Shloshim, or in the first year of mourning, to rise at this time. Those who are observing a yahrzeit to rise at this time. And we all rise now in comfort and support as we continue with the words, On page 598, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon, uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam omei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudasha b'riachhu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Ta'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort to all who are bereaved, and let us say, Amen. May be seated. It's my pleasure to call to the Bima Jessica Lusterman on behalf of our board to share some hodaot, some announcements with us.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Rabbi Memis Fuller, Herb, and the adult choir for leading tonight's service. Thank you, Chuck, Deb, and Michelle for leading us in tonight's blessings. Thank you, Chris Bate, for setting up Oneg, and as always, a special thank you to all of you for joining us this evening. Please join us tomorrow morning at 8:45 for Torah Talk and Bagels, followed by our Simply Shabbat morning service at 10 a.m. Religious school this Sunday will be held at the JCC camp in Medford. Monday morning, we offer yoga, and in the afternoon is mahjong. All levels welcome. Also, please be aware that there will be modified office hours during Passover. A few events to look forward to. Addis Congregational Seder is the second night of Passover, and the Passover conclusion and Yizkor service is on Wednesday, April 12th at 6 p.m., followed by our Back to Bread celebration with pizza and salad in the social hall. RSVPs are requested. Hopefully you will also join us for our annual gala on April 22nd and our community concert featuring Noah Aronson on Sunday, April 30th. Please join us after services in the social hall for Oneg. And lastly, on behalf of the Adith Emmanuel Board of Trustees, I would like to wish you and your families a happy, healthy, and peaceful Passover. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom.
Our closing song tonight can be found on page 646. 646. Actually, it's not 646, it's 626. Ein Keloheinu.
Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadoneinu, Ein Kimalkeinu, Ein Kamoshienu, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadoneinu, Ein Kimalkeinu, Ein Kamoshienu, Mi Keloheinu, Mi Kadoneinu, Mi Kimalkeinu, Mi Kamoshienu, No Del Eloheinu, No Del Adonenu, No Del Imalkeinu, No Del Moshienu, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kimalkeinu, Ein Kamoshienu, Ein Keloheinu, Kadonenu, Ein Kimalkeinu, Ein Kamoshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. Ein Keloheinu, Ein Adonenu, Ein Kimal
Please join me for Motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon and Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Oh my gosh, you did great. Thank you so much.